Born August 30, 1930, he is an American business magnate, investor, and philanthropist. He is currently the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. As a result of his immense investment success, Buffett is one of the best-known fundamental investors in the world. As of June 2023, he possessed a net worth of $117 billion, making him the fifth richest person in the world. Known as the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett is one of the most successful investors of all time. Buffett runs Berkshire Hathaway, which owns dozens of companies, including insurer Geico, battery maker Duracell, and restaurant chain Dairy Queen. He developed an interest in business and investing during his youth. After finishing high school and finding success with his side entrepreneurial and investment ventures, Buffett wanted to skip college to go directly into business, but was overruled by his father. Buffett displayed an interest in business and investing at a young age. He was inspired by a book he borrowed from the Omaha Public Library at age 7, called 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000. Much of Buffett's early childhood years were enlivened with entrepreneurial ventures. In one of his first business ventures, Buffett sold chewing gum, Coca-Cola, and weekly magazines door to door. He worked in his grandfather's grocery store. While still in high school, he made money delivering newspapers, selling golf balls and stamps, and detailing cars, among other means. On his first income tax return in 1944, Buffett took a $35 deduction for the use of his bicycle and watch on his paper route. In 1945, as a high school sophomore, Buffett and a friend spent $25 to purchase a used pinball machine, which they placed in the local barber shop. Within months, they owned several machines in 3 different barber shops across Omaha. They later sold the business to a war veteran for a tidy sum of $1,200. Buffett's interest in the stock market and investing dated back to his schoolboy days he spent in the customer's lounge of a regional stock brokerage near his father's own brokerage office. His father took interest in educating the young Warren, at one point taking him to visit the New York Stock Exchange when he was 10. At 11, he bought 3 shares of Citi's Service Preferred for himself and 3 for his sister Doris Buffett. At 15, Warren made more than $175 monthly delivering Washington Post newspapers in high school. He invested in a business owned by his father and bought a 40-acre farm worked by a tenant farmer. He bought the land at 14 years old with $1,200 of his savings. By the time he finished college, Buffett had amassed $9,800 in savings, about $121,000 today. After being rejected by Harvard Business School, Buffett enrolled at Columbia Business School of Columbia University. Upon learning that Benjamin Graham taught there, he earned a Master of Science in Economics from Columbia in 1951. After graduating, Buffett attended the New York Institute of Finance. According to Buffett, the basic ideas of investing are to look at stocks as business, use the market's fluctuations to your advantage, and seek a margin of safety. Buffett worked from 1951 to 1954 at Buffett Falk and Company as an investment salesman, from 1954 to 1956 at Graham Newman Corporation as a securities analyst, from 1956 to 1969 at Buffett Partnership as a general partner, and from 1970 as chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. In 1951, Buffett discovered that Graham was on the board of Geico Insurance. Taking a train to Washington, D.C. on a Saturday, he knocked on the door of Geico's headquarters until a janitor admitted him. There he met Lorna Davidson, Geico's vice president, and the two discussed the insurance business for hours. Davidson would eventually become Buffett's lifelong friend and a lasting influence, and would later recall that he found Buffett to be an extraordinary man after only 15 minutes. Buffett wanted to work on Wall Street, but both his father and Ben Graham urged him not to. He offered to work for Graham for free, but Graham refused. Buffett returned to Omaha and worked as a stockbroker, while taking a Dale Carnegie public speaking course. Using what he learned, he felt confident enough to teach an investment principles night class at the University of Nebraska-Omaha. The average age of his students was more than twice his own. During this time, he also purchased a Sinclair gas station as a side investment. But it was unsuccessful. In 1954, Buffett accepted a job at Benjamin Graham's partnership. His starting salary was $12,000 a year, which is about $131,000 today. Graham was a tough boss. He was adamant that stocks provide a wide margin of safety. After weighing the trade-off between their price and their intrinsic value, in 1956, Benjamin Graham retired and closed his partnership. At this time, Buffett's personal savings were over $174,000, which is about $1.87 million today, and concurrently founded Buffett Partnership in 1959. The company grew to 6 partnerships, and Buffett met future partner Charlie Munger by 1960. Buffett operated 7 investment partnerships. He asked one of his partners, a doctor, to find 10 other doctors willing to invest $10,000 each in his partnership. Eventually, 11 agreed, and Buffett pooled their money with a mere $100 original investment of his own. In 1962, Buffett became a millionaire because of his partnerships, which in January 1960 had an excess of $7,178,500, of which over $1,025,000 belonged to Buffett. He merged these partnerships into one. Buffett invested in and eventually took control of a textile manufacturing company, Berkshire Hathaway. He began buying shares in Berkshire from Seabury Stanton, the owner, whom he later fired. Buffett's partnerships began purchasing shares at $7.60 per share in 1965. When Buffett's partnerships began purchasing Berkshire aggressively, they paid $14.86 per share while the company had working capital of $19 per share. Buffett took control of Berkshire Hathaway at a board meeting and named a new president, Ken Chase, to run the company in 1966. Buffett closed the partnership to new money. He later claimed that the textile business had been his worst trade. He then moved the business into the insurance sector, and in 1985, the last of the mills that had been the core business of Berkshire Hathaway was sold. In 1973, Berkshire began to acquire stock in the Washington Post Company. In 1977, Berkshire indirectly purchased the Buffalo Evening News for $30.5 million. In 1988, Buffett began buying the Coca-Cola Company stock, eventually purchasing up to 7% of the company for $1.02 billion. It would turn out to be one of Berkshire's most lucrative investments and one which it still holds. Buffett became a billionaire when Berkshire Hathaway began selling Class A shares on May 29, 1990. With the market closing at $7,175 a share. In 2002, Buffett entered in $11 billion worth of forward contracts to deliver US dollars against other currencies. By April 2006, his total gain on these contracts was over $2 billion. In 2008, Buffett became the richest person in the world, with a total net worth estimated at $62 billion by Forbes and at $58 billion by Yahoo, overtaking Bill Gates, who had been number 1 on the Forbes list for 13 consecutive years. Buffett has been a supporter of index funds for people who are either not interested in managing their own money or don't have the time. Buffett is skeptical that active management can outperform the market in the long run, and has advised both individual and institutional investors to move their money to low-cost index funds that track broad, diversified stock market indices. In 2007, Buffett made a bet with numerous managers that a simple S&P 500 index fund will outperform hedge funds that charge exorbitant fees. By 2017, the index fund was outperforming every hedge fund that made the bet against Buffett. Buffett was raised as a Presbyterian, but has since described himself as agnostic. In December 2006, it was reported that Buffett did not carry a mobile phone, did not have a computer at his desk, and drove his own automobile, a Cadillac DTS. Well, that was a short story about how Warren Buffett made his billions. If you want more content like this, please like, and subscribe to our channel.